Call this meeting to order of the Board of County Commissioners. I would invite you to stand for invocation by Pat McFarland, and we'll follow that up with a Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning, Pat.
Good morning. Good morning.
Nice to see you all.
You as well.
Heavenly Father, we come this morning with grateful hearts for the beauty and majesty that is Fremont County, and that we are privileged to call it our home. Thank you for the opportunity to care for the world you have made and given over to our stewardship. May your goodness and love be present this morning. Come and bless this meeting with unity, hope, and vision. Build a deep respect for one another so that Fremont County may come together as one. Thank you that you have been with these government officials and concerned citizens for the past year, and we invite your presence and protection here within this meeting now. We ask that you give those present inspiration, hope, and courage as they share requests and concerns, sharing what is upon their hearts, filling their conversations with your grace and truth. Lord, shower all of Fremont County with your peace, so that as the county journeys continues onward, it is marked by a shared respect, love, and grace for all citizens. Father, always for your glory and praise, in the name of Jesus, amen.
Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Not funny.
Thank you, Pat. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Payne,
Present.
Commissioner McFall,
Present.
Commissioner Bell,
Present.
County Attorney Jackson,
Present.
County Manager Bryant,
Present.
Planning and Zoning Director Garrett.
Present.
Next, we move on to the approval of agenda.
Mr. Chair, we have one minor typo that I would like to correct with today's approval of the agenda. That is under new business for consideration, item number 1. We will be recognizing the 2018 Fremont County Employee of the Year and nominees, not 17. So with that minor change, I move to approve today's agenda.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and second. Any further discussion? I would just like to add on the agenda here, first order of business under old business and the item number 2 under new business. Those two items are not public hearings, and particularly on the CUP conditional use permit for Dawson Gold Project. This is not anything to do with the Fremont Placer claim that's in section 13. Has nothing to do with the oil and gas proposed lease, that's BLM. It has nothing to do with the section 16 state land lease, okay? So this CUP has nothing to do with any of those. So I just want to make that clear, and we're not going to take any public comment on those issues. However, if you want to give us a call, come into our offices and visit with us about those, we'd be glad to do that on those separate issues, okay? That makes sense to everybody? Good, all right. With that, roll call, please.
Commissioner Bell,
Aye.
Commissioner McFall,
Aye.
Commissioner Payne,
Aye.
motion carries.
Move on to consent agenda.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner McFall,
Aye.
Commissioner Bell,
Aye.
Commissioner Payne,
Aye.
motion carries.
Move on to staff and elected officials reports. Number 1 is our county clerk's monthly report. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, so the total motor vehicle fees, sales taxes, and recording fees collected for November of 2018 were $935,123.25. Fremont County's portion for disbursement was $540,650.16, which is 58% of the total fees, and was $130,791.21 less than November of 2017. Year-to-date, our office is up $359,774.36 from last year. So.
All right, numbers aren't looking too bad. Mr. Chair, I move to accept the county clerk's monthly report.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Commissioner McFall?
Aye.
Commissioner Payne?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Move on to the county manager's report. Good morning, Sunny.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So my first is just updates on some of the projects we have going on right now. So we are finalizing the 2019 budget process. So that will be on a special meeting agenda next Tuesday here at 9:30 for the consideration for adoption. So if anybody's interested in that, the budget is available online. You can go on and review that, and then it will be proposed for adoption next Tuesday. So we are continuing to move forward with the Hayden Pass project. So the draft plans are being sent to the homeowners up in that area so that it will give them some time to review all of that as we're moving through that process. We did a kickoff meeting for the EPA Brownfields grant. So if anybody is not aware of that program, it looks at any property in the community that may have some type of environmental risk factor. And so the groups that are involved in that is Canyon City, Fremont County, City of Florence, FEDC, which is the Economic Development Group, and then Fremont County, we're actually the grant recipient with the EPA. So it's a $600,000 grant program. So we just are getting ready to start that process. So if you have any properties that you know may qualify, reach out to us and we can give you the nomination form to get those submitted. We are working on the Phantom Canyon Tunnel Rehab project. So that project started on December the 3rd. Phantom Canyon Road is closed. They're hoping to have that done by the beginning of January. And so just a quick background, we failed an inspection on that, and so they're going up there and securing all of that and getting it stable. And then if anybody's driven out by the airport, we have finished the shade structure over the In God We Trust display out there. So it looks very nice, and we're hoping to prevent some of the sun from damaging those pennies that are out there. So if you haven't been in that area, I encourage you to take a look. It's a very nice display, and we're hoping to preserve that for many years to come. And then last, we were just notified last week, so Commissioner McFall and I had gone up a couple weeks ago for an underfunded courthouse hearing up in Denver, and we actually were notified that we were awarded $200,000 towards that project from that group. So we're working on a Department of Local Affairs grant as well, and what we're hoping to do is actually finish courtroom space on the second floor of the judicial building to add one additional courtroom on that. So we're trying to get grant funds to pay for that. So that's all I have for the manager's report, and I'll jump into sales tax really quick.
Move on into that.
Okay, so the retail sales tax collections in the month of October came in at $395,753, which is up $17,690 from last year. Year to date, we're up $183,555. The auto use tax came in at $84,081, so it's slightly down from last November, but year to date, we're up $93,819. The construction use tax came in at $77,262, which is up $7,876 from last year, and year to date, we're up $12,315. The lodging tax came in at $335, which is down from last year. And year to date, we're actually down in that fund slightly of $1,967. And then for the sheriff, 1% sales tax in the month of October came in at $263,836, which is up $11,793 from last year. And year to date, we're up $122,370. The auto use tax collections came in at $56,054, which is down $9,636 from last year. Year to date, we're up $62,486. And last, the construction use tax in the sheriff is up. It came in, at $51,508, which is up $5,043 from last year. And year to date, we're up $8,012. So overall, everything is looking very good, and we're hopeful as we close out the year that these numbers continue to be positive.
Okay, thank you very much.
We need to accept that and move to accept the county manager's report. We
Don't
never
we?
do before.
No,
But I'll
Never
move it
mind.
If you want it.
Nah, it's okay.
Okay.
never mind.
Just thinking of something
We'll
else.
accept it anyway. How about
Ooh,
that?
we'll accept it anyway. Okay, let's move on to staff and elected officials' reports.
Mr. Chair, coming on the heels of Sunny's report, I would like to tell folks, if you haven't heard yet, we had the opportunity I guess it was 2 weeks ago tonight, to surprise our county manager with a very special award the commissioners had nominated her for, and she was chosen out of the entire state of Colorado. So I was trying to figure out this morning exactly what to say about Sunny, and I decided I would read a couple of the questions and the answers that we were able to answer on that nomination form, because I think it's imperative that everyone in Fremont County knows how much Sunny does for us every single day, and we hope that you all appreciate her as much as we do. So one of the questions was, describe how the activities of the administrator affect the quality of life in the community. And the answer was, a native of Fremont County, Sunny now lives here with her husband and 2 young sons. She is deeply involved in the school system, the Chamber of Commerce, Rotary, church, and other local organizations to promote the health and well-being of the entire county and its citizens. She has overseen the development and growth of many county programs, knowing that healthy, happy employees just do a better job. She works tirelessly on the behalf of our employees. Sunny also is part of a core group that began the area and regional managers meetings, where she meets with managers of special districts, agencies, and local governments to work together strategically to effect changes that will improve all. Daily, she proves her belief that a rising tide lifts all ships. Another question was, list additional positive attributes of the administrator and describe how the administrator applies these attributes for the good of the county organization and the community. So the answer was, Sunny always has a positive attitude. She always looks for the positive in every situation. She is an amazing problem solver. Sunny lives here with her family, and she works hard every day, beginning sometimes as early as 4 a.m. to enrich the lives and futures of all our citizens. She is our ultimate ambassador. We like to think that no one is irreplaceable, but I do shudder at the thought of ever having to try to replace Fremont County Manager Sunny Bryant. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce you this morning to your 2018 Colorado County Administrator of the Year, Sunny Bryant. I will tell you, you've never seen anyone as surprised as Sunny was that night. And her entire administrative team drove to Colorado Springs for the Colorado Counties Incorporated Conference, dinner, and awards event where this award was presented to her by the state of Colorado. So her entire team went up to surprise her. We were all there, and we were all in tears. So it was a really, really great evening. So again, Sunny, congratulations.
And I've come to the realization that I think they just like to see me cry, because I didn't realize she was going to talk about that. But I just want to publicly thank all of our department heads, staff, employees, all elected officials, everybody here at Fremont County that supports me, because we have an amazing group of people that's here, and you all do a phenomenal job, and you make us look good on a daily basis, and we sincerely respect you all, and we could not do any of this without you. So I'm not the only one that should have received an award. I think Fremont County is full of amazing people, so thank you.
Sounds like we surprised her again.
I think so.
We've gotten good at that.
Mr. Chair, I've got nothing. I just welcome everybody here for whatever concerns you're here for. I appreciate everybody coming and being involved.
Okay. Anybody have anything else? All right, we'll move on to citizens who wish to address the commissioners on matters not scheduled on the agenda. Anybody have anything they want to, that's not on the agenda? Seeing none, I don't see a rush to the podium. Okay. We'll move on to old business. Request of a conditional use permit for Taylor Ranch Exploration Black Range Minerals. I believe we have Michael Rudder with us. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi.
This is an extension
Yes,
of
an
that
extension.
CUP. Good morning.
Good morning. Okay, we had some discussion on this. I guess what we can lead off with is a staff report, Sean.
Okay. The department received application for extension of CUP 10-003 Black Range. Through further discussion, the applicant has agreed to modify the conditions of the CUP to limit it to just water sampling and reclamation of disturbed areas for that extension period.
Okay, so water sampling and restoration only.
Reclamation.
Reclamation.
No
not
more exploring.
No more drilling, no more exploring. Okay? You were good with that? Okay.
All right. Mr. Chair, I think we're good with that as well. I move this morning to approve. This will be resolution number 40 to modify and extend the conditional use permit 10-003 for Taylor Ranch Exploration, Black Range Minerals of Colorado. This will allow them to continue only to take water samples and to reclaim that property.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
No, I just want to state again that there is no more exploration, no more drilling. I think it's a win-win. It's checking the water samples to make sure that they're not the water's not contaminated, and to finish reclaiming the areas that have been disturbed. So I think it's a win-win for everybody.
Okay. Richard Hollabaugh, you did have a comment with this. Do you still want to have a comment, or are you good?
I think I'm good.
Okay. I was hoping so. Thank you, sir. Okay, it's
Yeah.
it's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Commissioner McFall?
Aye.
Commissioner Payne?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Move on to item number 1 of new business. This is the recognition of the 2018 Fremont County Employee of the Year and the nominees. I believe we had 10 nominees. We're going to do the nominees in alphabetical order. So I'll start off. Danielle Adamic is the very first one. Her nomination, some of what was said about her.
Come on up, Danielle.
Oh yeah, you can't get out of this, so. Your nomination contained the following specific details why your coworkers believe you are deserving of such recognition. Your relentless dedication, your enthusiasm and genuine interest in what you do, demonstrating initiative to earn a certification from the International Code Council. And without question, the county is a better workplace with you being a part of it. That's what was written about you.
Okay.
So, thank you very much. Danielle, sorry, then I'll give this to you now.
Yes.
That's what we'll do. Okay. Thank you.
And state, we want to make sure
Commissioner Bell, you're next.
Okay.
Okay.
right?
Yes, and if you would all stay so we can take a picture of all of our nominees. Kelly Broomfield. Good morning, Kelly. Good morning. Kelly was nominated because she portrays a positive customer service attitude at the Department of Human Services every day, for displaying the way that you love your job, and for displaying a smile and saying hello to your coworkers every single day. Kelly, I hope you know we appreciate the job that you do. Thank you.
Yes, it is.
Okay, my turn. Janice Goggins. Is Janice here? All
Yep,
right.
she is.
Hello, Janice.
Morning.
Your nomination contained the following specific details. You're enthusiastically developing meaningful multiple classes for participants, using your knowledge and creating classes to inspire, going out of your way to help your coworkers. Thank you for everything that you do.
Next up, John Grayson. And what's that?
Mention the department.
Oh, the IT department, which for an old guy that isn't really computer savvy, I'm always calling John. Anyway, your nomination on the specific details. Taking the time to understand specific software for departments and how the software interacts with other departments. Developing a program to handle manual deletions of duplicated information, which has increased the efficiency of the process. And developed a program which submits files between departments for reconciliation processes, which not only increased efficiency, but resolved a long-standing audit issue. Thank you so much for everything you've done for us.
Up next is Kelly Janis from our treasurer's office. Kelly, congratulations. You were nominated based on the fact that you bring organization and brightness to the treasurer's office every day. You greet all customers with a smile, even when you're on the telephone. And you also have taken on much responsibility to improve the efficiency of the treasurer's office. So, Kelly, we thank you.
Okay, next from our Sheriff's Department is Amanda Lucero. Is Amanda here? Okay, she was nominated for being a hard worker with the Sheriff's Office, with the Sheriff's Office best interest in mind, for working diligently and in transports, but taking the time to help in booking, and for assisting others. Thank you, Amanda.
Next up, we have Janelle Miller. Good morning.
Good morning.
Of the Department of Human Services.
In the Department of Human Services. Okay. She always wants details. Your nomination for the specific details: for always keeping a calm demeanor and tones in time of adversity, for managing and supervising with fairness, and for your organization and work ethic which allows your team to function smoothly. Thank you very much.
Also from the Department of Human Services, Kimberly Runyon. Good morning.
Morning.
Kimberly was nominated for being the support system for all ongoing and intake caseworkers, for your knowledge and your willingness to always help others, and for always going above and beyond to attend all family engagement meetings and court. Thank you so much.
Right, from the Public Health Department, Christina Taylor. I saw her, there she is. Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, your nomination contained your growth, professionalism, and commitment to the department, for going above and beyond for every division of the department, for accelerating a previously stagnant program. Let me start that one over. For accelerating a previously stagnant program into a top-performing service for moms and children. Thank you very much.
And last but certainly not least, we have Clint Wilson from the Sheriff's Office. Morning, Clint.
Good morning.
Morning.
Clint, your nomination for dedication to the department and the community, and for giving your all to the safety of the community. Thank you very much, sir.
So I have the pleasure now of announcing our Employee of the Year, but before I do that, I just want to say a couple of words. First of all, I've been watching everyone here, and I think it's really interesting that none of you are particularly comfortable being in front of a crowd of people and being recognized for the job that you do every single year. I actually think that speaks volumes for every one of you, because you're much more comfortable sitting in your office, talking on the phone, working on your computer, going out into the field, being a deputy, in your car, whatever it is. That is your comfort zone, and you're a little bit out of your comfort right now. But I want to say thank you all so much for coming this morning. I also would like to describe just a little bit the process that we use to find our Employee of the Year. Nominations are open to anyone in the county to nominate a line staff employee. That means department heads are not eligible. Certainly elected officials are not eligible. We send out all the information a couple of times. We receive back all of the nominations. And then it's not just the county commissioners, it's every elected official in Fremont County who sits down, and we discuss all the nominations, because that's really what we have to base it on, is what the nominations say, and then we take a vote. Sometimes we've had to vote 2 times or 3 times before we actually have a clear winner. So the elected officials in Fremont County this year were almost unanimous in their decision, and I would like to announce that our Fremont County Employee of the Year for 2018 is John Grayson.
right, we'll take a couple minutes to let employees get back to work.
Thank you all for coming this morning.
Thanks for coming, but yeah, get back to work.
Time to go to work.
Okay.
While we're waiting, I see former Commissioner Ed Norton in the audience here, and one of the best quotes I heard when he did his retirement talk was that one of the best things he did for the county was hire Sonny Bryant. So,
Just letting a few more of them come in too.
yeah. All right, we'll go ahead and move into item number 2. It's the conditional use permit 12-003 for the Dawson Gold Project. This is an extension of the conditional use permit. I believe we have Angela Bellantoni with us. Good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Bellantoni.
Good morning.
Commissioners. Good morning, Commissioners. How are you?
Well, how are you?
All right, give us a little rundown on this 3-year, I believe it's a 3-year extension that you want?
This is just a repeat of what happened 3 years ago.
Okay,
The methods are consistent with those approved back in 2012. And currently, we went back and did some data collection, and over the last 6 years, there has been approximately 250 days. I don't think that's approximately, I think that's pretty close. 250 days of actual drilling exploration on the site over the last 6 years, and that's about 40 days a year. And there's an additional 100 days of just surveying and geology walking and those sorts of things that are kind of ancillary to exploration. The proposed extension is for 3 years with the same methods, the same anticipation for exploration. This is a slow process because you identify the locations that you'd like to explore, the specific locations. You have to schedule a drill rig to get in their queue. They come, they do their coring, which is as fast as possible on and off the premises. And then those cores are sent out for analysis, and that can take a substantial amount of time, 60, 30, 90 day, whatever it takes to get that data back to make another decision. So that's what's been going on since this was first approved back in 2012.
okay, now we've heard of new claims being, what's the proper term? Processed or purchased? Staked outside of this conditional use permit. But we are not talking about expanding the area of the conditional use permit to take those in. Is this correct?
Correct. This is just a life of the conditional use permit, of the current conditional use permit as it was approved.
Current footprint,
Current footprint.
current borders, no
Current-
expansion.
Current vote, that is what's before us today.
So-
Yes,
Thank you.
ma'am.
Dr. Bellantoni, am I reading this right too? The current CUP boundaries are approximately 593 acres. But of that, only 4.89 acres have been disturbed so
Yes,
far?
sir. And that's because there's that rule in Fremont County that it has to be a contiguous parcel to be in the boundary. And that's what had to happen to allow for the exploration today across the face of those hills. Yes, that's less than 1%.
Okay.
And bear in mind, that's also a bond with the State of Colorado Division of Reclamation, Mining, and Safety to the tune of $92,000 plus. So Zephyr Minerals is held to reclaiming that, and there is a piece of exploration that is slated for exploration. Here, reclamation. Sorry, that word is escaping me. The reclamation is just in the new year 2019, so that is all happening as it's supposed to happen. The other parcel to the other
component of this is the partnership with the Colorado Division of Reclamation and Mining and Safety. So there's two oversights. There's the county, and then there's the state of Colorado. We have to maintain a transparent activity of this is what's been happening, this is how many holes have been drilled in this year. There's an annual report submitted every February, has to be submitted, and there's a diagram showing the exploration. If there were drill holes, then there are abandonment logs. I just sent in 11 just this morning, yesterday and then this morning. So we have to maintain that. We have to drill and plug, send in abandonment logs, and that activity has to be maintained with the state of Colorado DRMS as well. So there are continual modifications, if you will, to the notice of intent to explore so that everybody's on the same page, because of course best laid plans, right? You learn. We all learn. We learned iPhones, went from flips to touch screens. Love it. So this is a learning process for Zephyr as well. What they thought they were going to see in 2012 changed in 2013 and 15, and as they learn, this is what's happening. They're learning. So they have to keep that intent, plans, file current with the state of Colorado as well. So there's two parallel agencies right here.
Okay.
I have with us today, if you would like, Mr. Lauren Comperdo of Zephyr. He came down from Alberta, Canada. If you would like him to speak, he's much more knowledgeable of geology than I am. I'm just paperwork, you know that. Would you like to?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're good.
No?
Yes.
Yes?
Let's have a staff report.
Okay, the department did receive requests for extension for a 3-year period effective February 26, 2019 to February 26, 2022. It is all within the CUP boundary, as has been stated. We recommend approval for the extension with a condition, contingency that the applicant provide proof that the access currently being used is set in place and adequate.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Sean, currently being used what? How did you word that? The access currently being used?
Is properly established and adequate.
Thank you.
And can I ask what form that is? What are you asking for? What's the proof of adequacy? I just need to know what I need to provide.
Oh, how should that be worded? Whether or not there's a deeded access to be able to use that, or a proof that you're able to use that access? A legal access. Does that make sense? A legal access, that your company has a legal access across that property. We just need proof of that as part of the contingency. Okay, that was the only contingency?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Anything else, Dr. Bellantoni?
You don't want to talk to Lauren?
He made the trip. I would like to at least give him the opportunity to stand up and say hello.
Okay.
If that's okay, Mr.
Sounds
Chair?
good.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How's everybody doing today?
Great.
Doing well.
Is there anything that you would like to know about us and exploration work or anything we're doing on the project?
Well, all we're addressing today is this conditional use permit. That's all we're addressing today. We're not addressing
An extension of the expiration.
the extension
conditional use
of the
permit.
exploration. That's all we're addressing today. As far as your long-term mining and everything else, that's not anything we're addressing today. We're just addressing this exploration.
And I would add, quite frankly, if we don't have an application into the county, we don't want to hear about your future plans at this moment in time.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for having us as part of your agenda today. And if anybody has any questions along the way about anything, please don't hesitate to give myself or Will a call, and we'll try and answer all the questions. We are a public company. All of our information is public knowledge on our website or our Securities Commission website in Canada. So we're very, very transparent on what we do and where we are and what's happening with us.
Okay.
And I assume Dr. Bellantoni has your contact information if we would like to
does.
receive that?
I hear from her very often.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, entertain a motion.
So, Mr. Chair, for the request for the CUP 12-003 for Dawson Gold Project Exploration Extension, I move to approve that request for a 3-year period from February 26, 2019 to February 26, 2022 with a contingency of proof of legal and properly established access.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? We had Canyon City Councilman John Hamrick actually wanted to speak on this. John, do you still want to speak? Okay, thank you. I just wanted to mention that. Okay. Roll call, please.
Commissioner McFall?
Aye.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Commissioner Payne?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Commissioner. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you.
We'll give the room a minute to clear out if you guys, unless you want to stay for public hearings. They are exciting.
Thank you for being here this morning.
I know. I did.
You can't pick and choose who gets to comment based on who they are. If you let one, you let all.
All right, come on. Let's move. Let's move. Shuffling out.
No, please don't. Please don't.
And then everything else goes.
I'll smack you afterwards, okay?
Prickly bear.
I'm sure you were feeling busy for ages. I thought I was decently busy myself.
Right. So we have 2 public hearings coming up. If anybody wants to speak on either one of these public hearings, if you want to fill out a slip and hand it up, we have slips and pens on the podium here. If anybody wants to speak on these 2 public hearings, give you that opportunity while we're clearing out the room.
So I guess Tim's just gonna have me read these highlights for the.
We're almost there.
There's so few of them.
Yeah. I need to say that we're changing Article 8. And then we got to copy this.
You don't have to read it, just explain it.
Okay. Tammy.
We're presuming that people have read it. So essentially it's just, providing for an administrative review. Changing this to
Be surprised.
Yeah. Okay, we'll go ahead and move on here. For our first public hearing, we have a request approval of a proposed amendment to the Fremont County Medical Marijuana Business Licensing Regulations. We'll start off with a staff report. Sean?
Okay, so we just have a few changes. One of them is going to be providing administrative review.
I can't even hear you.
Okay, all right, sorry. Give us just a couple seconds here. All right, let there be silence. Cool. All right, go on, Sean.
Okay, so one of them is going to be requesting a plant count with application, providing administrative review for minor modifications and approval for renewal if it is the fourth year in a row when there's been no issues. Administrative review and approval for minor modifications if it is not going to cause a bunch of impacts to the neighboring properties, and limiting application for modification to one time in a 12-month period.
Okay. Any discussion or questions
So
for Sean?
limiting to one time a year, whether it's approved or denied, the modification.
Correct.
That's a calendar year. Correct.
Is it a calendar year or a 12-month period?
12-month
12
period.
months.
I thought it was a 12-month period.
12-month period.
12-month period, okay.
Okay.
Get that established. Okay.
I would just like to make a comment, Mr. Chair. Since we first put our marijuana regulations, medical marijuana regulations into effect, we've come back a couple of times already to make modifications to our own regulations. This is still something we're trying to sort out, not only here in Fremont County, but in every county across Colorado, and it's becoming more prevalent all across the nation, so I don't think we're the only ones that are continuing to struggle with this a little bit. These are some discussion points that we have talked about now for a few months. We've discussed over and over how best we can modify our current regulations to help them meet what the actual need is for today. So this isn't something that we take lightly. This is not something that Planning and Zoning brought to us and said, this is what we think you need to do. This is what these three commissioners sitting here today took to Planning and Zoning and said, we need to make these changes, help us get it done. So I just would like to clarify, that's the process. These are things we've been discussing for many, many months, and we finally are prepared to adopt these, I believe, and move forward.
Okay. Any other further discussion? Okay, this is a public hearing. I'll open the public hearing. I got one slip here. Forgive me if I mess up your last name. Carly Van Arman? Van Arman.
So, first of all, thank you for being here and, constantly looking at these and working on them and trying to make them the most efficient that you can. We think a couple of the modifications are wonderful. The administrative approvals on the fourth year renewals, I think it'll really help streamline and save everybody a lot of time. Same with minor modifications. That seems like something that can be approved administratively. The only issue that we saw with the amendments was the once per 12 months. And this isn't necessarily because you've seen us a lot for modifications in the last 12 months. What am I doing wrong?
Likely nothing. It's the system. It's not you.
Okay.
It's not you. Yeah, don't take it personally.
So it's not necessarily that we anticipate needing more than once every 12 months, but things do come up. And in the state code, very minor things require modifications of premise, such as moving a doorway. If a person has a medical marijuana center, adding a display case or adding a point-of-sale station requires a modification of premise. So these are very minor items that don't impact the property, don't ask for expansion, but still require modifications of premise. Another one that requires a modification of premise that will be coming up is if you want to reduce or add a license to a property. Now, why this is going to be coming up soon is the state is actually changing vertical integration and moving away from vertical integration. So if you have commonly owned licenses in one location, you will be required to file a modification of premise to collapse those licenses. So that's something that the state's going to require us to do that we have no control over. And if we don't anticipate needing to move a doorway or needing to add cameras or swap out electrical fixtures, and we apply for that modification of premise to collapse those licenses, Well, then now we're stuck for a calendar year if we decide 3 months later that we need to move a door or we need to swap out electrical infrastructure, which all requires modifications at the state level, hence requires modifications at the local level. So we just see the 12-month time frame a little bit prohibitive. Some solutions, I don't want to just present a problem without a solution, would be maybe make the regulation more detailed in that maybe limit expansion modifications to once every 12 months or anything that increases capacity to once every 12 months, but minor non-impacting modifications, allow those to be approved administratively more frequently just because they don't impact the community, that sort of thing.
Well, what we have in the language is if the change as determined by the planning director and the county attorney is minimal in nature, it does not negatively impact neighboring properties in a significant manner, they can just do it administratively.
But they still cannot apply except for every
For
12
once
months.
every 12 months.
We could separate those two provisions out.
Yeah,
If
that
they're
was,
if they're an administrative modification and doesn't have to come before the board, it doesn't fall within the 12-month restriction, would that solve the issue?
yes, I believe it would.
Okay,
Okay, that's all I had.
all right. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Carly. Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any comments and/or questions on this? Okay, I don't see a wave coming up here. I will close the public hearing. Okay, any other comments or questions? Entertain a motion.
Well, I would have a comment that I don't think our attorney's suggestion is a bad one, to separate those out. So I would have a question then for the attorney is, can we do that with a motion today, saying that is our plan? We don't have to table it for that.
Yeah, you can approve it with that change to the proposed revisions.
Okay,
Okay.
all right. Then, Mr. Chair, I would move to approve this proposed amendment to the Fremont County Medical Marijuana Business Licensing Regulations, making the change of administrative modifications. There is no 12-month time frame or limitation. Others that must come before this board can happen only once every 12 months. So we will split those out and reword that particular piece.
Okay,
Second.
okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bell,
Aye.
Commissioner McFall,
All right.
Commissioner Payne,
Aye.
motion carries.
Thanks for coming before us.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay. Item number 2 under public hearings, a new liquor license for the Prickly Pear Lounge, LLC. Do we have Danielle Oliver? Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about what you got going on here, if you would, please.
Right now, we have a food truck on premise.
Could you get a little closer to the
Yeah,
microphone, please?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Right now, we have a food truck that we just put on premise. It's a barbecue food truck. We focus on coffee, local community events, and it's an art gallery.
So this is in Howard,
Yes,
on the highway.
yes.
Can you kind of locate for us and tell us in relationship to other things in Howard where you're
It's
located?
right next to the post office, a couple doors down, and we are pretty close to the historical downtown area, within a couple miles, I'd say.
Okay. Move on to a staff report.
Yep, everything's in order with our office. They've submitted their application, they've posted and published. The sheriff has recommended approval by his inspection.
Okay. All right, this is a public hearing, so I will now open a public hearing. We had a couple of people, 3, I guess. First up is Dick Carney.
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. I live in Coaldale, kind of a local to the lounge there, and I just wanted to speak in favor of it here, point out a few things. I think they've done a lot of hard work to develop what they've got so far. It's a small business. It's very convenient to the locals. It's right on the highway there. They've got coffee, several different kind of drinks, pastries, food, a food truck, Wi-Fi, and an artist gallery. You know, it's kind of a meeting place, a community place for the local people. I think they've done a lot of work in developing what they've got so far, and it seems to me like beer and wine license would be a logical next step, and I'd hate to see this thing fail because they're doing a lot of work, and a lot of locals enjoy it, you know.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you
very much.
I would just make the comment to kind of tag on to his support. We do have in our packet the petitions of folks who had signed petitions saying that they thought this was a good idea. I did not actually count the signatures, but there are many, many signatures there that are not only from Howard, but they are from Coaldale. We have a few from Salida, so even outside Fremont County as well. So we also do have those, and we are considering those as well. So thank you.
Okay, next up, we have Andy Wadbarb? Oh, dang it.
Good morning.
Oh, there is an L there.
There
Okay.
is, yes.
Good morning.
Good morning, guys. Actually, the last time I would think I was here in this room was getting our own liquor license back in 1984 for the Rocky Mountain Outdoor Center in Howard.
Just a couple of years ago.
Just a few years ago. I would like to wholeheartedly support this. I mean, Howard is not a real exciting place at this time. There's not a whole lot of businesses. I applaud Danielle for her bringing in some life into our community, and perhaps, you know, the three commissioners remember that we have Howard way out there. So
There are a lot, actually.
yeah, very good. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, I have Alan Rule. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Thanks for hearing this. I just want to say I've lived in Howard for 25 years and been waiting a long time for something like this to come along, and wholeheartedly support it, and think she's doing a great job. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else would like to speak on this? Come on up, have you fill out a slip there at the podium.
Can I finish it?
Yeah,
and add it
yeah,
to
you
it?
sure can.
Thank
Just
you.
state your
Speed it up a
name and,
little.
for the record, state your
Okay.
name and
My
and
name is
city.
Jane Browning. I've lived in Howard 25 years. I just want to make the comment that these guys are totally professional and mature. We've been observing them for the year that they've been operating, and it's wonderful to see the heartbeat blossoming, because everyone that finds their way to Howard tends to stay. And this will really help us, you know, small business. We're excited to see someone have the courage to take this on. And so we hope you guys will agree.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else like to speak on this? Okay, I will now close the public hearing. Okay, any other questions for
Yes, sir.
Ms. Oliver?
Yes.
Yeah.
I would like to ask you about staff training for your service staff.
Yes, so I have already taken a serving training course. We are looking at some hands-on courses that are located in Denver. They start like mid-January. I'm lucky enough to have two girls with me who have a long line of restaurant, bartending, cocktail history, myself as well. And so I think we have a good idea of how we're going to continue training throughout individuals coming in or as we grow.
So currently, you would just have the 3 staff members?
Yes.
Okay, but possibility of expansion?
Possibility. Right now, we're going to try to kind of do as much as we can on our own. It's pretty quiet. As you said, there's not a lot going on in Howard. We are focused on trying to bring in some events and music. In that case, we might bring on some security individuals, but they'll mainly be at the door and making sure that people coming in are, you know, of the right mind to be there.
So would you like to speak at all about hours that you're considering being open?
Yeah.
Or if it's special events only, if you want to talk about that a little bit, just to let folks know?
So our plan is not to start serving alcohol until 1 o'clock. We open at 7, but we have tons of mothers and families who come in the morning. They use the space for work. They gather there, and we're not trying to alter that environment at all. We're just trying to go ahead and move with the community. We had a lot of people asking us if we were going to try to pursue a liquor license, which I've worked in I've worked in a lot of bars, and a liquor license right on the highway made me incredibly nervous. But beer and wine, I think we can keep a professional and grown-up environment there, especially with it being an art gallery. We're not trying to be a bar at all.
You can start serving at 1. What time do you close?
We close at 7.
And is this 7 days a week?
We are closed Wednesday and Thursday.
Closed Wednesdays and Thursdays?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yes.
I have no further questions, Mr. Chair.
When are you planning on opening up?
So the coffee shop's open, and we've been going. Coffee shop's
Coffee
open.
shop is open.
Yep, barbecue truck is open.
Awesome.
We have gotten to know Sid really well, and then Amy, the new health inspector. They are fantastic. It's a long drive for them to come out there, so we appreciate that they made the time for us. And then as soon as the approval for you guys, hopefully, and then Department of Revenue, and as soon as we can get everything into place, so maybe by New Year's, we'll see.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
So it is concurrent, so the state's reviewing it at the same time. Okay.
All right. Any other questions, comments? Entertain a motion.
So I know that there's been a few liquor stores out in Howard, and they're there for a little while, and then they leave. You obviously had one at one point. So it is a little tough up there, so I hope that, provided we all agree here, that you do well. And with that, Mr. Chair, I move to approve a new liquor license for Prickly Pear Lounge, LLC, beer and wine license in Howard, Colorado.
And I'll second that, just with the note that it's very rare that we have a new liquor license that there is no opposition to that we have heard. So, we appreciate that. So we appreciate all of you who came this morning to support Danielle in her endeavors, but we also appreciate all those who took the time to circulate and then to sign those petitions also. So
Thank you.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
I just wish you luck, and
Absolutely.
I'm up there a lot, so I'll stop by and
Please
see you.
do.
Too.
Anytime. Please do.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner McFall?
Aye.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Commissioner Payne?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Good luck.
Congratulations.
Thank
Good
you.
luck.
Thank you so much.
Okay, we'll go back to new business. Item number 3. This is the Colorado Springs Regional Joint Land Use Study presentation.
Good morning.
Finally.
Good morning. Thank you
Yes,
for your
good
patience.
morning. Absolutely. So I was here a few months ago when we were in the process of doing some public meetings and attended the Fremont County Fair to try and engage citizens on this study. So it's good to see you guys again at this point. This study is close to completion after 3 years and a lot of new gray hairs. We are getting close to finishing this study. So just as a reminder, the next slide, please. A joint land use study. There's been 120 of these at least done throughout the country. This was the first one in Colorado. The goal of this is it's a funding source through the Department of Defense Office of Economic Adjustment that helps with communities working together with the military to both support mission and to look at ways to partner to mitigate impacts of that mission and impacts of communities on the mission. So it's a way to look at collaboration. So the outcome of this study, of these types of studies, are that you end up with a roadmap that helps communities and the military work together to be mutually supportive of each other, particularly when it comes to land use and development. Next slide, please. So there's 4 counties that are participating in this, and the communities within. Fremont County, Teller County, El Paso County, Pueblo County. 5 installations have been involved: the Air Force Academy, Cheyenne Mountain Air Force Station, Fort Carson, Peterson Air Force Base, and Schriever. The Army Depot is not a part of it. They're under a separate program due to the fact that they are going through a redevelopment and eventual closing as far as we're aware, but that's something that's not included within the study. Fremont County has been involved because not only does the footprint of Fort Carson, as you see, extend into parts around Penrose, you also have a lot of training that occurs in the airspace and on some of the BLM lands within this area. Therefore, that was one of the key parts of focus within this study, which I'll get to in a moment. Next slide, please. So the reason why these kinds of studies are important for our communities is that for this region, the military is an important component of the economy. We've learned both from data and from anecdotal experiences that there's quite a number of people that are either veterans that live in your communities, that are active duty that live in your area, and even people that are employed that are civilian that work at some of the installations. So it does contribute greatly to this region, and therefore whatever communities are able to do to help with making sure that continues or to support as new missions come in, that helps out. But naturally, there are some impacts from training. Go ahead and go to the next slide. So we learned about some of these impacts and some of the things that were of concern through we had at least 100 meetings with various stakeholder groups, conducting public outreach, as I mentioned, to Fremont County Fair, completing surveys. Through this process, we've learned a lot about the military and what the community needs are in this region. Our final study, we're hoping to have a final acceptance as complete next week. And Commissioner Tim Payne has been is our vice chair of our policy committee. It's been great having your participation with all this. And Marshall Butler on the technical committee from your planning department has been a great asset with helping us understand issues that may arise related to correctional facilities and overflight and wildfire. That's another item that Fort Carson does participate in. Wildfire, combating wildfire. So there's a good integration between emergency services and the military. And so we also looked at how that's something we'll want to continue to support and find new ways of finding new ways of improvement. The draft of the study is online currently. We'll be going through and doing some final changes before it's finalized, but it is available if anyone wants to read through. It is 295 pages. So there is a lot to it. You'll find there's a lot of content that relates more to the Air Force Academy, but you'll note within the Fort Carson section and the regional section, there's a lot of items that would be of interest to the Commission and citizens. Next slide, please. So these are some of the key findings that we pulled out that relate to Fremont County. Obviously, Fort Carson training around the area requires good communication in terms of both the military communicating to the communities as to what their operations are, what they're doing, if there's some kind of preventative burn that they're doing. All these communication efforts are important, and vice versa. It's also important for the communities to continue to communicate with Fort Carson if there is an issue that comes up, and going straight to the public information officer if there is something that arises. I know we've done some outreach with the Commission as there's been some overflight from military, where we realize that the citizens and through you all here, the citizens sometimes come to you and say, what is going on? What are these operations? And through that, we've learned that there's a lot of activity that occurs that does not originate from the installations in our area. So we're going to try and do more with gathering that information so we can help the citizens of your community understand who is creating some of those disturbances when those occur, and helping connect the citizens with the appropriate military representative so there can be that exchange of information and hopefully a resolution to the issue. With some of the use of BLM land, there is a contract between Fort Carson and BLM for the high altitude mountain environment training. Some of that does take place in the National Forest Service lands. Therefore, one of the outcomes of mutual concern is the health of the forest. Obviously, with the fires that you have had down here in Fort Carson, trying to participate in combating those fires and them utilizing training areas up in the mountains, all of you have an interest, a mutual interest in preserving forest and natural land. So that's something that has come out as a key finding. Stormwater, wildfire management, and transportation issues also were found to be a mutual interest to the military and members of this community. Next slide, please. So there were about 12 strategies that were developed through this. I've highlighted in red some of the key ones that seem to be most relevant to Fremont County. Collaboration, obviously we want to continue to find, there's good collaboration going on, but obviously there's always room for improvement. As PPACG, even though we're a council of governments that's not down here, and we're up in we represent mostly the El Paso County, Fremont, and Teller, El Paso County Park and Teller. We are continuing to look at ways to do outreach with Upper Arkansas COG and Pueblo Area COG, and we feel that there's a good opportunity for collaboration as a region, because we all are part of the same watershed. Things that start upstream come down here. We all have an interest in wildfire, so we believe there's an opportunity for collaboration on many items. Same thing with transportation networks. So we're looking at ways going forward that we can, outgrowth of this is to continue collaborating with the region. And then again, going back to, I mentioned already, helping to inform residents, community leaders when it comes to some development that may occur that might impact things. We found that the airports, even Fremont County Airport, is heavily used by Fort Carson for operations, and therefore continuing to preserve the ability of that airport to perform as an airport is important. Other places have some compatibility issues with development around the airport that is starting to impact the ability for them to function, and therefore we just want to make sure that prior to ever having an issue, we just want to be there as a resource if you're curious about what creates an issue for your airports. Next slide, please. And then lastly, of course, transportation needs. We know that convoys occasionally use Highway 115 to come down through this area to do training going out US 50 as an alternative route to I-25. So naturally, continuing to make sure those networks that are of mutual interest to make sure they're maintained, we'll continue to work on supporting that. And then as natural disasters, that term is meant to be all-inclusive with wildfire, stormwater, and anything else that occurs. The military really values the communities that surrounds it, and wants to make sure, because not only is it a home to their neighbors, but also some other personnel, that they continue to collaborate with communities on natural disaster response. So that's another opportunity for collaboration. So we're going to continue to monitor this. Next slide, please. So as we go forward, we hope to still be around. Our grant funding ends on December 31st, 2018. However, we do have our application into the Office of Economic Adjustment, Department of Defense, to continue to be around for another 18 months for implementation strategies and to be there as a resource for the communities within this region when it comes to working on land use development and military mission support. So with that, are there any questions?
No questions, just comment. I was, like you mentioned, I was on this committee since we formed it. And of course, for me, the two of the biggest issues for Fremont County was the training around the airport and also the training going over Penrose, and also the high altitude training on the BLM lands out west. I was on a couple of real lively meetings out west there that, boy, those people were kind of shook up about. Well, you get a 20-some-year-old kid full of testosterone with $1 million piece of equipment, and he sees a herd of elk. Oh, let's have some fun. So, so yeah, it was that was lively. So that was issues that we tackled.
Yes.
So yeah, and they were good discussions.
Yeah, and I think that obviously this is a very wide scope within this study, so we didn't get into too much detail, but the idea is that the issues are recognized, and I think it's going to be an opportunity as a starting point to continue to work on these issues that will be ongoing, because we know missions will change, flight activity will change, but the idea that Fort Carson is continuing to engage these communities is very important to making sure that they have a successful mission and that people aren't experiencing too much disturbance as they're performing their training. So I think it looks like there's good groundwork laid, but it'll have to continue. So I think we tried to recognize that in the study.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
I would just make the comment that thank you for being here this morning. We appreciate you and all the work that you and this group have done, but we really love our military. We appreciate all of them too.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, we have a plethora of appointments that we'll run through here.
Let's let you clear the room, Tim.
Okay, let's give it a minute to clear the room. Yeah.
This is a record, 3 times to clear.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't mind great planning for your agenda.
I know, could have staggered it and all sitting here.
It's not a problem. We need to get on with our lives.
Okay, now we'll get down with these appointments. Item number 4, reappointment of Ed Norden and Rick Romano to the Weed Advisory Board for 3-year terms ending December 31st, 2021.
So on that one, Mr. Chair, I'd first like to say that we still have one unfilled open position on the Weed Board. So if anybody's interested in serving on the Weed Board, please send us a letter of interest. And with that, I move to reappoint Ed Norden and Rick Romano to the Weed Advisory Board for 3-year terms ending December 31st, 2021.
Second, with the notation that we do have letters expressing their interest in doing
We
so.
do for these two, yes, we do.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner McFall?
Aye.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Commissioner Payne?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, item number 5, reappointment of Mark Mazer, Tammy Rakovich, and Ralph Kunzelman to the 4-H Sales Committee for 3-year terms ending December 31st, 2021.
Mr. Chair, this is that committee that we took it upon ourselves as a board to reorganize a few years ago. And the folks who are on this committee do so much amazing work for Fremont County, but especially for all of our 4-Hers and the livestock sales that they do. So I'm very appreciative that these 3 folks have decided they would like to remain on board for another term. So I move to reappoint Mark Mazer, Tammy Rakovich, and Ralph Kunzelman to the 4-H Sales Committee for 3-year terms ending December 31st, 2021, with the notation that they also all did give us letters asking for reappointment.
Yes, they did. I second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Commissioner McFall?
Aye.
Commissioner Payne?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, item number 6, reappointment of Keith Berry and Lisa Stutz to the Fremont County Heritage Commission for 3-year terms ending December 31st, 2021.
So once again, with letters of interest, I move to reappoint Keith Berry and Lisa Stutz to the Fremont County Heritage Commission for 3-year terms ending December 31st, 2021.
I think Keith is a new appointment.
Keith is, no.
No, he's been on there.
It's a
Yeah.
reappointment.
Okay, I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner McFall?
Aye.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Commissioner Payne?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item number 7, reappointment of Ed Norden as the alternate to the Board of Zoning Adjustment for a 3-year term ending November 30th, 2021.
Mr. Chair, I would move to reappoint former commissioner, retired Commissioner Ed Norden as an alternate to the Board of Zoning Adjustment for a 3-year term ending November 30th, 2021.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Commissioner McFall?
Aye.
Commissioner Payne?
Aye.
Motion carries.
You'll sleep better tonight,
I think he's here simply because he was worried about that
He was
appointment.
worried about that appointment.
Not sure we were going to let him back on or not.
Item number 8, appointment of a new member to the Fremont County Fair Board for a 3-year term ending December 31st, 2021.
So, Mr. Chair, we did send out a notification via radio, newspaper for people of interest in the Fair Board. We did receive a letter from Kelsey Larson. And with that, I move to appoint Kelsey Larson to the Fremont County Fair Board for a 3-year term ending December 31st, 2021.
I'll second that with the notation that Kelsey does come highly recommended from the Fair Board and from our extension staff. She's very well known amongst many of them. She has young children in 4-H, so I think this is a really great appointment for us.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner McFall?
Aye.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Commissioner Payne?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item number 9, appointment of John Hamrick as the Canyon City representative on the Fremont County Planning Commission for a term beginning January 1st, 2019 and ending December 31st, 2022.
And it appears as though Mr. Hamrick is concerned about this appointment as well. He stuck it out this morning. He's still sitting here in the audience with us. So, Mr. Chair, I believe that we are all very well aware of John Hamrick and his continued interests in not only Canyon City, but in Fremont County as well. I think he will make a great addition to our Planning Commission. So with that, I move to appoint John Hamrick as the Canyon City representative to the Fremont County Planning Commission for a term beginning January 1st of 2019 and ending on December 31st of 2022.
I second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
I would just like to note that with John Hamrick being added as the Canyon City representative, we also have a representative from the Florence too to represent on the County Planning Commission. So it spreads throughout the county.
Yes, it is. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Commissioner McFall?
Aye.
Commissioner Payne?
Aye.
Motion carries.
And with that, no further business coming before this board. We are adjourned.
gonna run away.
I know. She's at the door. I gotta catch her. You and you, Matt. Are you a runner too, or you're shot? Matt used to run out the door.
That's what we did.
We've all been voluntold before as well, so we get it.
Medical
marijuana. Can you explain that a little bit? I didn't quite understand.
Well, when I looked at it, we define a modification as a substantial or major change. And we've never really addressed in the regulations minor changes like moving a doorway, like she was talking about. So the moving the doorway, the minor changes don't really fall under our definition, so they're not gonna fall into that 12-month thing.
Oh.
The board doesn't want